Because we're live, so why not? Oh, did it do much? How's my
There.
that looks good. I'll just turn that off, that sound. Okay, perfect.
Great. So we're here today with
All right.
Celeste. And yeah, so Celeste, please tell us a bit about you.
Okay, well, my name's Celeste. I go by the tag Medium of Divine Love. I channel a lot of energies. I also work with people to connect with their loved ones who have passed. I do a lot of heart chakra work. That's really my goal. My family path was a little difficult, and as a believer in spiritual and hooey-dooey things, that's how I like to say it, I believe that my path of having a lot of heartbreak and really trying to get my own together and stand tall and strong was definitely meant to happen how it has happened. Even though, like, if you had asked me, like, maybe even like 5 years ago, I'd screw that, still healing a lot in a lot of ways. So yeah, I don't know about you guys, but since the world's flipped upside down, I have leaps and bounds have I started to really come into my own when it comes to my gifts and abilities and that. I've always been very gifted ever since I was a child, very sensitive child, had to pretend I didn't know things so that people were comfortable with me. And then for a while there, I got shut down when about 7 or 8, when you start to go into school and that. And by shut down, I mean my guides or my helpers or source or whatever we believe in decided that it was too much for me. I was having a lot of troubles being in a family that had no beliefs, not even religious beliefs.
Right.
So I had to discover all that stuff on my own.
So when did you notice that there was, that you knew things that other people didn't know?
I think honestly I know about 5 years old when it started to be conscious of the difference, right? So when you're born and you're gifted, most children are gifted, they're aware, they see things or whatever, and they get used to it. They're comfortable with it until they notice that maybe their parents aren't seeing it, or heavier things come in, like grandpa's passed, but he hasn't passed the light or something. Grandpa's going to look a little creepy, right? But we don't know that as kids, right? So me as well. So I was dealing with a lot of that, and other than my grandmother on my mom's side, who was a Reiki master, no one else was really open to that sort of thing, right? If I mentioned anything like, grandpa standing beside you, mom, she'd be, freak out. It's pretty typical.
Right.
Pretty typical, yeah. I think. And we hear about, two people growing up in that. So yeah, about 7 or 8, I got shut down, I guess you could say. I'd always still been very sensitive. I knew people. And I didn't know it was a special ability to know people, right? I just knew people. So I started so I went through high school. I was miserable. I was grouchy. I was, a typical teenager. I was goth, black hair, black, eyeliner, black lipstick. I was an artist, all these things. I went through a lot, right? It's like, it's almost like a shadow of path, right? I kind of went through my shadow path. I wasn't a very nice person. I was a nice person, but I was very closed off, right? I didn't want anything to do with anybody. Boys were like, whatever, waste of time,
All right.
So I went through a lot of that. And things happened. There's a lot of sexual abuse in my path line. So I help a lot of women who have been through that, either with relationships or in family and that. So I have a lot of stuff that's happened there. So, and again, that's coming back to heart, right? Moving to heart. When we have to forgive, in a way, these people who have done so much damage, it really brings us to heart, because we have to get out of mind, right? We have to move into heart, because when we're miserable, And they used to always say, like, you forgive for yourself, right? You forgive and you let go and you move on for yourself, right? And I actually believe it's for both. So we come to a point in our paths where even the people who have harmed us, or we've thought had harmed us, we love them. And you do come to that point in your life that you do love them. Like you could say, you know, and you say it, it's like anything, right? You say it. You say it repeatedly, I love you. I can move into that space. You're not feeling it yet, but you're wanting to get into that. And some people will say, oh, you're being fake. No, sometimes you have to like just fake it till you make it, right? And
right.
it's something that you want to do. I don't know about you, but wanting to have the higher path of being in heart and appreciating everybody unconditionally as much as we can, right, is a honorable goal. So when you pick on light workers and that, you know, love and light or whatever, it's an honorable goal to want to actually live in that high vibration and want to be in that love vibration. So yeah, maybe they're faking it. Maybe you're feeling they're faking it. Yeah, but hun, that's their final goal, right? So they're good. They're gonna make it.
It's a good goal. It's a good goal, even if you're faking it at first, right?
Exactly. So I don't know if you notice I tug on my ear when it starts to like start talking and stuff. So.
Okay, so is it just like anyone just comes up to you, or how does that work?
No, it used to be like that, actually. It used to be very much like that. And I had to start setting boundaries, really, right? With boundaries with human beings is actually affects the boundaries of the spiritual world. So if we have healthy boundaries when we interact in a relationship in the 3D world, in the spirit world, we actually will create boundaries as well. And I also assign certain you know, like I work with Mother Mary, I work with Jesus, I work with Archangel Michael, I work with Anubis, an Egyptian god. So there's different levels and vibrations of energies and spirits that wish to speak to me or speak to someone who I'm talking to when I'm doing reading, right? And a low vibration does not mean that it's not of the highest good, right? It doesn't mean it's a vindictive spirit or energy. It just means it's earth. So it comes from the earth. So it could be an elemental energy, or it could even be your grandfather or your mother who's passed and come back because they want to work with you with the ancestor energy that is coming around massively lately with this whole pandemic, right? And everything that's been happening, right? This new earth is what I like to say, right? New consciousness. We're all being forced to think and be a different way, right? So it's a beautiful time. So I have different guards or different energies that I assign. So, and they take care of that. So I don't have to. And I have to trust. It took me a while to actually trust the energies that I was working with around me, right? Because I got a lot of cross, especially when it came to people that I needed to forgive and heal, because I kept pulling them to me, the energies, right? And because I'm a medium, and intuitive, I will pick up on people's shadows, or I will pick up on something that's left unsaid, basically, right? So I kept drawing a lot of energy into me or to me because I was in that mind state of still like, oh, I'm so mad about this or that, right? And I kept drawing these energies, right? And it's not like the horror movies at all. This is just like when you're like having a good day and all of a sudden you're in a bad mood and you're like, what the heck? And then you remember this time in high school and then you're like, people like try and squish it down a lot, right? Yeah. They don't want to deal with it. But if you're in that mood and the flashes are coming back, take a moment to just let it go. I say stuff like, that was then, this is now. I'm ready to let it go, right? And that's little energy points or triggers, as people like to say, right? That need to come out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
one question. The energy that you get from people like normal human beings and energy from spirits, is it the same or do you feel the difference?
I definitely feel a difference. So if we're working with ancestors that have passed or loved ones, they're always a heavier energy, so they're more earthbound, right? And sometimes they're actually hard to get to talk because they don't even always know that they've crossed, right? Even because they'll cross and come back because there's something that they've forgotten, or they won't even have crossed yet. but I won't talk to ones that haven't crossed yet. So we make a little deal before the reading that they have to cross, and then they come right back. So sometimes they're still a little confused.
Okay.
And the crossing over is just to help them clear as much as they can that they've collected over their lifetimes, right? And it's mind, anything mind, any greed, any anger, any sadness, it needs to be cleared, right? Because we carry so much baggage, all of us, right? We all have sore shoulders, sore, backs or whatever. And even as a spirit, when we first pass, we have to get cleared in a way, right? Because we don't need to carry that anymore. So they come back and they come back. And they're a heavier energy for sure. And like I said, sometimes it's hard because they'll even be the same personality. So if they were very shy or if they're a child, I can't get much out of them. So I'll have to actually bypass them and ask a guide, one of my guides or whatever. Hey, what's going on here? Why is this so quiet here? And, It's fun during readings.
But how much of the readings do you do?
What type of readings? Well, usually, you know what? Honestly, I'll get like a grandmother, a grandfather, or someone who had passed, usually often some type of energy that wants to work with the person that I'm reading. But most of the time I get a lot of help, like help you get to heart. So, and some of my readings can get very personal, right? So I don't like to, like I used to do live on my page, but they get very personal. Like one of my readings, someone had committed suicide. A suicide had stepped forward. Oh, this is great on live, right? But people, they know what's going on. Next thing you know, she's bawling. I'm almost bawling. But it was a beautiful reading, right? So I'll pick up on anything left unsaid, right? And that blocks our heart. I often will pick up on that in my mediumship readings.
So can you feel the way they feel, or does the feeling come like
not all
as if it was your own?
Oh, no. Some mediums will do that. They will take on, it's almost like they will allow the energy to move into them. I don't do that. I actually keep that separation between me and the spirit and the energy. So they'll tap in telepathically, or they tap in, because clairaudio, I can hear a lot of things. I get visual clairvoyance. I was very clairvoyant as a child, actually, but it scared me so much that I just shut down my third eye. I was like, I'm not having anything to do with this, right? So it's actually taken me like a lot of my reawakening when I reawoke about 27, 28, when my daughter was about 1 year old. That long to get my third eye back. And I'm so happy I have, because it helps so much, right? Because sometimes it's the same. When it comes to third eye, it actually can be blocked by judgment, right? So like I said, I had a path where I was a teenager and I was grouchy and judging everybody, blah, blah, blah. And even when I reawoke, I still did a lot of that judgment mind, right? And it's a way of protecting yourself. You don't mean to, but it's just one of our many blocks, right? We judge people so we can keep them away. And it's not, it's like saying that they're out of our league, but they're not. We're just like, we're not even good enough for you, so I'm going to judge you and I'm going to put you over there, right? So it took me moving to heart in order to open my third eye, because I'm someone who's on this fancy path. Get a little harder sometimes, but I love it. I wouldn't change it, right? I mean, I can see that. Do you mind if we do a little reading, because they're already talking?
Sure. Yes.
Super personal with you. It won't be embarrassing, but
no, go ahead.
So sometimes I use cards, sometimes I don't. I mean, I like to use some cards so that, especially if I've never read someone, or there isn't something that I'm sorry. My son's father just texted me and said my son has a fever. So just 1 second, like groundless. But yeah, sometimes I use cards. You know how it is being a mom, right? Hey, staying alive, great.
Oh no, wait, hold on a
Poor
second.
thing. Yeah.
There, sorry. I kind of paused on Instagram. I didn't know how I did that.
Okay. No worries.
Sorry.
So the first part I did, I brought little info cards, and they talk about choices. And I think I said it to Zishan too when he was interviewing me. Was he had a lot going on at once, and Spirit was asking about focusing on one or two, three things, right? And they're saying the same for you. It's not that you're not amazing at juggling everything, because you are amazing. It's a mom thing. I don't know. A woman, I don't know. But we're amazing at juggling stuff, right? And they're saying, take a step back and focus on one or two or three things. I think you've been actually thinking about cutting back on some projects and that. So, I mean, you can tell me. And they're reaffirming that to stepping back. Also in personal life, you take on a lot, I hear. So, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
right? Right? And sometimes we're like, I do it better. I'll just do it because I know what I'm doing and I do it better and I'm just going to do it. Right? And as moms, but sometimes we got to step back and we have to let some people who maybe they'll fall a few times trying to do the same thing that we've done 100 million times. But, right? So taking that step back and allowing others to help you. I feel like you have, I got choices again because they wanted to reaffirm. And that's how I work, right? I don't know about you, but I'm a very stubborn person. So if I'm getting a message from Spirit, they often, even with what I do, they have to knock hard. Because I'm like, I didn't mean to pull that card. I'm going to just try another one. See. And then I'll take the same one again and again. It's like a little cute little thing that my guides and I like to do. They like to do to me, right? So again, the choices, they're just reaffirming, right? Because you may take it seriously, you may not. But when we focus energy on only a few things, that energy is so much more powerful, right? Think of yourself as an energy manifesting being. Focus 1, 2 things at a time. If we spread out, we're going to just end up struggling, and it's always going to be, or we'll end up giving up too soon, right? Because we get too tired, right?
Yeah.
There's a little ditty. I definitely had grandmother, and grandmother is even a little wild, like I don't know. She's like, let's move, you know. So, mother's side, I don't know. She's dancing a lot. She's like loving life. So I got that, and she's eating a lot of food and like celebrating, and so they're reminding you to celebrate, because I feel like actually it's opposite in the family, right? Growing up, it was a lot more. They had fun. Family was close, but they were like serious. We need serious stuff. We need to do serious family life stuff, right? And grandma's like, keep it up. Let's go. Let's do opposite, right? So I don't know. I feel a lot of like, so that's how I will feel energies, right? They will come over and I'll just be like, I want to just start laughing or giggling or that sort of thing. But if they have any sadness or anger in that, I don't get overwhelmed with that one. I'll take the high vibrating stuff, but you can, but I will explain, right, if something needs to be said. But I don't take that on as an empath, right? And not all mediums have to take on functions of, it just depends on what their abilities are, and it depends on what they're comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm a Virgo, so nothing gets in this body unless I inside.
But is it hard for you to keep like their bad energy away from you, or is it easy for you to choose which energy you take in?
It actually is only difficult with people close to me. So friends, family, anyone that I can get into any kind of emotional entanglement in a way, right? Pardon me. That's the only ones that I actually have to watch out for. And I don't have to watch out for them per se, but I'll be like, you know, like even I love my roommate, but even I'll be like, do, 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 and he'll come in like, and I'll be like, do, do, I'm like, wait, what's that? I'll pick it up quickly. But that's okay because then I help him work out of it too, right? I go, hey, what's up? What's going on? And because he doesn't always like to say, he's a Gemini, so he doesn't always like to say what's going on, right? He likes to handle it himself, but I can't help it. And same with my daughter, same with my son, I'll pick up on all that stuff all the time. I don't go crazy about it. I don't sit there going, oh, I hope my kids are okay. I'm feeling all these energies. I just receive messages when I need to receive them, really.
Right.
The worst energies is relationships. So if I'm in a toxic relationship, I'm going to pick up all that. And I don't know about you, but I'm still learning how all that works. So that's the only way that I would anything like that, right? And then I have to clear. I have to do like everyone else. I have to clear my energy. I have to cut cords. I ask Archangel Michael, or I imagine cords coming out, and I'm cutting them with the beautiful golden sword, or however you wish to feel. And you keep focusing energy or waving your hands around until you feel better, right? It's like taking that time to settle and come back to center is what they say, right? I feel like you would be able to do that. Meditation, you would be able to be like, oh, there's some energy here. I'm going to wave this around. Oh, and take a couple deep breaths. You could do that. I could see you doing that. I pulled another card for you, talking about timing, right? So sometimes you've wanted to rush timelines with things, maybe with projects or work and that. So they're talking about allowing the timing to come about. Yeah, your Instagram keeps freezing, but that's okay. There you go. You're back.
There.
Yeah, they're talking about, we all do that as humans, right? Especially if we have financial stuff, right? If we're having some fears there or whatever, then we will want to rush timelines. We want things to happen quickly because we have families to look after. We have things that we need to do. And they're saying to trust universe, and trust that things will come when they're meant to come, right? And I feel like if you look outside, if you look at signs, you'll see numbers pop up, right? You'll see a certain animal that keeps repeating. You'll keep seeing bluebirds, or I don't know, but you know what I mean, butterflies or anything like that. It's spirit speaking to you because you receive a lot of messages that way. So keep working with that, right? So 1111, right?
Yeah. So much 1111 and 222s.
You got it all over you. I'm getting goosebumps. They're like, we've been talking to you. 1111. So when we do 1111, for me and my family, if someone notices, we go 1111, and then we all make a wish.
Okay.
Right? We take a moment, make a wish, whatever the family's working on that time, or a personal wish or whatever, and that's what we do. And then that's a way of manifesting as well, right? Just asking for it. It's like praying right when that little door is open there. Yeah, so I knew you were getting 1111. And you're going to get other messages too, right? You're going to see animals that you love repeated, or or flowers, or someone will say something and you'll hear, if you hear it 3 times, that's spirit saying, hey, we want you to listen to this one. Because when I start to go, wait a minute, didn't I just hear that? Like, and even they can talk directly to me, and they still do that to me. And I go, wait a minute. Okay, I understand now, finally, right?
Yeah. But have you ever, I think, let me see. Have you ever worked with people that feel that they can sense more, but they're scared of whatever they might see or feel?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. I actually, a lot of my clients are actually people who are already know that they're psychic, or have seen things or felt things, or even are working as massage therapists or manual osteopaths, or are healers in some sort of way. That's usually who I see, or women who are pregnant, women who have young children, right? That's the other way that I go. And yes, always. And the fear, it just has to be done. Sometimes it just has to be felt out to just trust that you're surrounded by God, source, whatever you believe in. Call on protection, light a candle, and really trust that you are safe, because you are safe, right?
Yeah.
And then feel it out. Like I said, like you said, are the energies different from spirit guides or angels or ascended masters or whatever, or aliens, right? Whatever it comes in, than the earthbounds. And yes, earthbounds very much feel like horror movies. Like, you know what they always say, like, they'll come around all kind of dirty like, and they're like not trying to show off, but they're trying to present themselves as they feel that you'd be comfortable with, right? So here
Right.
I'm here. Elements, I've worked with elements, like fire will just go boom, right? And it's like, whoa. So, you know, it gets dramatic too when spirits start to know that you're recognizing them, right? Then they really start to yell. And so I understand that. I understand that 100%. When I was a child, I used to build a fort of teddy bears around myself before I went to bed at night.
Me
because
too.
my grandma would visit me. Did you? Yeah. My grandma would visit me every night, and she meant well, but she hadn't passed, and she wasn't looking healthy. And at the time, I didn't know how to help them pass, right? And just because if a spirit hasn't passed, doesn't mean that they're vindictive or they're up to no good. They're just lost. So if they have really bad Alzheimer's or anything like that, sometimes they will wander. Then that's my job. I scoop up I go. Anybody can do that, right? If you're feeling uneasy in your home, you can call in what you believe. So if you have a favorite angel, or if you even believe in God or source or your higher self, just say, hey, clear this room. Talk to them like they're right beside you, because they're right beside you. They're not up. They're not going, huh? What? I can't hear you. I'm way up here. No, they're right beside us, right? And they're going, hey, there's something here. Can we clear it? Because free will, they know you can feel it. Free will, they want you to develop. It's easier on them too. They do a lot for us, right?
Yeah.
But they do 100,000 times. They are martyrs. They don't want us to be the martyrs, but they're our martyrs, right? So yeah, so I can understand that. Yeah, definitely. If anyone ever wants to ever even just talk about it, like I don't just, if you message me and you ask me some questions, especially if it has to do with gifts and development, I will answer them. I won't be like, oh, that's 9 to 5 a minute, but if you're asking me about your boyfriend that, has been gone since, whatever, we're going to have to set up a time, because this is going to get deep, and I'm going to say, we're going to talk about your self-worth. We're going to,
Right.
You know what I mean? Little things like that. And like I said, I set the boundary. So when someone messages me, I immediately check in. So checking in is I check in my intuition. I say, do they need my help? Sometimes is it something that they need protection about, because I have a friend who does clearings and exorcisms and that sort of thing. And like I said, it's not like the horror movies. We're just talking about energies that aren't supposed to be in our bodies, right? And it's often from people who have harmed us, right? So if we had a father who was abusive towards us in some way, we will pick up energies from them, because it's such an impactful emotional bond that happens at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So working with that, and also a lot of people can even clear their own energies. So if they feel like cords or anything like that, they can also clear that. They just have to believe. And it's people are like, is that easy? Yeah. I mean, you don't have to full out believe. Just do the steps of saying, hey, whoever's here that loves me, can you cut these cords or anything? Like they're like, oh yes, please, can we? They're excited to hear that.
Right.
So take over our own energetic and spiritual bodies, like taking care of us, right? That's what I teach a lot of people. When I first became a healer, I would save people. Right? No. But I thought I was helping people, and I'd work really hard, and I'd get sick, and I'd get tired, or because I wasn't dealing with my own stuff as well, right? So I'd work on someone's throat chakra, but my throat chakra was blocked, so stuff would go right in my throat chakra. Then I'd have to clear that out after. It was like two things. It's silly, right? And when I stop taking ownership of everyone's path, because that's how I'd ever been. When I was a little child, I was like, I'll save everybody. Oh, you got an owie? Oh, I'll help you. You know what I mean? Like a lot of little kids are, right? Either they're like, oh, wait for me, or they're like, I love you, I can help you. That was me, 100%. And then, like I said, I shut down. And then when I reawoke, again, I can help you, I can help you. I was in that full mode again, right? It's like an inner drive. I know you feel it too. I mean, you like to help people, you like to be generous to people, and you like people to be comfortable with you in that. And I feel like sometimes growing up, women would fight with, they compete, right? Women compete, right? So you're like, I don't understand it. Why are we competing where we love each other? And sometimes we get stuck in that energy too. I mean, we're only human. Yeah. But you've always been like, no, actually, I want to be the nicer person, right? You don't like that competition. So you shy away from making female friends. And Spirit's talking about that happening.
That's so true. Yeah. I'm so much more comfortable with guys. I don't know.
They tell it how it is, even if they're assholes. Sorry, guys. But even if they're, they're in your face, they tell you how it is.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're dating them, sometimes they get a little sneakier, but just my boyfriend. But I feel like things are changing for you, right? You're going to actually start making better girlfriends and friends like that. And you don't need 1,000 of them, but 3, we could be friends. I mean, you're pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So how do you do? I mean, you said that you have 2 kids.
Yes.
Do you help them, or do you help them in any way to clear their chakras or to listen more, or?
Well, my kids are like anybody else. I have to allow them to do their path however they feel comfortable. It's really hard. But my daughter, she sees and senses a lot. She even works with dragon energy and the fae and that sort of thing. And so I love that. My son doesn't want anything to do with anything spiritual. He's not rude. He's a sweetheart, but he doesn't want anything to do. He's very afraid, actually. So he's only 12. So, and I know it has to do with his sensitivity. So he picks up energies and he's not sure about them, like how we all were. And his father's not very open to that sort of thing, but we get along great. So we work together for him. So he's on his little path and he does his thing. And my daughter's always here, and she's always, because I don't hide who I am. It's who I am. Some people are like, oh, sometimes you're a medium on the weekend. And we do often start out like that, right? We'll start doing readings for our friends and our family, and we're like the medium undercover and secret. And I've even had people like, oh, you just say you're a medium? I've never heard anyone just be open with that. Yeah. I'm nothing else. I'm not very good with labels, but this is who I am. I can't hide who I am anymore. I've done a lifetime of that, right? So even my daughter Cleo, this is her name, or their name, sorry. They will even go to school and they will sense if a teacher's upset or whatever, and they will ask their angels and their guides to clear their teacher. And it's like often they'll come home and they'll be like, Mom, they had a great day after. And I love stuff like that, right? But they it's up to them, right? I mean, she's 17 in the middle of the world turning upside down. It's great.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think it's different when you have someone that can help you on the way. Because I know when I was little, I could see like the aura of my grandfather, and it freaked me out you know, and when my father came into my mom's life, his aura disappeared. But since then, I have been so scared to see things. So when I feel something around me, I'm like, please don't show up. I mean, talk to me through my head or anything, but don't show up.
Don't. No, same. I'm not kidding. I'm the same way. Yeah. Well, I'm an artist as well. I paint and I do drawings and watercolors and acrylic and so I can be very visual. But I even me with everything that I've done, I still am the same way. Like I have to take a moment if I'm getting a visual to just like, okay, don't freak out, So I get it. And funny thing that you say your grandfather growing up, because family that every time my grandfather would hug me, I would throw up on him.
Oh.
And it was his energy. Because I was so sensitive. It's not that I wouldn't feel nauseous any other time. I mean, it still happens to me. If energy's wrong, I'll be like, whoa, I'm going to be sick. But then I'll just ground it out now. I have tools and ways that I help myself, right? As a child, I would just throw up. So I get that. And it scared the crap out of me, right? Because I didn't know why I felt so sick when my grandfather held me. I wanted to be not the weird child that puked on their grandfather every time they held. So I get that. And honestly, it's a baby step. So yes, they can speak to you. They can show you visuals via 1111, via repeated animals, repeated things that happen that remind you of a childhood or remind you of someone from your childhood. You will start to see stuff like that. And then, slowly the visuals will start to come in because that's your gift. You're very clairvoyant, right? And that means dreams as well, right? So your dreams can become vivid. You can receive messages via dreams, right? And it's okay. It's okay to see the visuals when you think about it, because that's like your little warning system, right? Okay, there's something up here. Let's do this. I'm going to get my angels to clear this person instead of freaking out, right? And you can start doing that, right? And it's okay if you freak out too. Come on. You think I don't sit at night because I talk to a lot of energies. When I sit at night and I'll be asleep and they'll be like, hey, Celeste, okay, no, everybody out, I get it, right? And it's just a matter of believing that we are surrounded by love, believing that we're surrounded by not only angels, archangels, ascended masters, whatever we believe in, Lemurians, Pleiadians, that comes into the aliens or whatever, whether we're even by a spirit, a tiger spirit, a big huge spirit of a tiger, or dragons like my daughter, likes to work with, we just need to, we don't know yay or nay of what's really happening, but we can certainly feel it when we come to a certain point. Like me just talking about that, I just gathered a whole bunch of energies around me now, like, yeah, you did. It's a beautiful thing. It's amazing now, right? They just basically refreshed me because I know I'm surrounded by love now. And that's what you need to come to. I feel like there's some religious stuff growing up that has actually added some fear to, not necessarily that you were super religious, but there's some notions that you were told, right? And that's your fear, right? Your fear is coming from that religious, even though you know better, quote unquote, right? And I have nothing to do, I have problems with religion. I have problems with creating fear. You know what I mean? I have problems with, groups of people that get together and keep people in a fear state. That's the only problem I have with it. So,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't say
that
I'm religious at all. I call myself spiritual.
Yeah, but growing up, or even what's it called when we have someone's trying to talk to me, and I'm always like, no, I'm trying to talk on the phone. I'm trying to talk on the phone. You're like, what? It's like a little kid. So we have, was your mom a single mom, or did she do a lot? Not necessarily a single mom, but she did everything growing up. Was that true?
Well, yeah, she was 17 when she got me, so she was pretty young. So she was studying and working at the same time and taking care of me and everything.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. They're yeah. And she liked to do things, right? She likes to keep busy. And sometimes you're like, but I want to just chill, mom, growing up, because you want to be, you need that. Otherwise, you get anxious and you get overworked, and you're not feeling how you want to feel, right? So Spirit was talking about, I'm sorry we jumped into a reading again. But Spirit's talking about how we're kind of programmed based on who we're seeing when we're growing up, right? My mother was a very nervous person. She was very dramatic. I don't know. I'm not dramatic at all, so
No.
But she was also very negative in that, right? So I had to rewrite that. They're talking about with you is accepting, even though people around you want to go, if you want to slow down, and if you want to have a day where you're going to just sit in bed and just whatever. I mean, can't see you being able to sit that long, but take the time, because you're going through some energy upgrades like all of us, right? So you're starting to open your heart more, your throat chakra is becoming more, you're starting to speak your truth more, you're getting sassier like you used to be, and it's all coming together, right? And it's good. It's good to be sassy.
It's so weird
it's
that
like
someone else is telling me what I feel.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I rarely get that back. I actually was talking to someone the other day, because like nobody can read me. It's just a protection thing I have or whatever, right? But and he was like, "Can I read you?" And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Can you read?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, try. You go ahead. I feel like it's a good thing." He was bang on. I was like, "So that's what it feels like." Like bang on. Right in the emotions. And at first I was like, "No." Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah. It's like that underlining hit, right? We don't realize that we're feeling that. We feel a little nagging, but we're not sure. But we don't actually even notice that little nagging unless a psychic or a friend or we get some sign from the heavens that it's there. So it's good. I like to bring things to light. I like to, and not in an aggressive, mean way. I like to do it in a, like, we need to look at it because you want to feel good. We want to feel good. And that's the only way we're going to feel good, is if we pull out everything that's holding us back from feeling good. Everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. So how was it, just going back to another thing, but the thing about loving the people that hurt you, and how has that worked for you? I mean, how did you even get there to that point? Because I think there are so many people that haven't really gotten to that point, or don't even know that that's a point that you can actually reach to feel that your love and bliss. How did you get there?
Well, it was like an onion, layer by layer by layer. Just when I thought I had forgiven them, another trigger or I met somebody that reminded me of something that would come out, right? So I had to actually just deal with each thing trigger by trigger. And I'm still dealing with some stuff, right? I still tend to, and I'll admit it, I still tend to date people who are like my toxic parent growing up, right? I tend to try and have them love me, even though like, I don't love you. Oh, please, why don't you? Like a child, right? So I'm still working on that. So like anybody else, I at one point in my life, I actually had to take a couple months off of my practice because I really had to work on myself. I couldn't put it off anymore. And that's when I really started going through the layers. So I started going by journaling anything that I remembered that would upset me or wasn't of the highest good, or this moment, like when I got bullied as a child, I wrote that down. When my mom did this, when my dad did this, when my ex-boyfriend did this, whatever, I wrote it all down, right? And I ripped it up and I threw it away. And then I did it again, you know, a couple months later, found out what was still there, wrote it all down, found out what I could gain that was a positive experience, because those were still in there. So obviously they needed to be in there. That experience needed to still be there in my consciousness, right? So I didn't struggle. I didn't go, what was on that list again? I just remembered what I remembered again, right? Because some of it I forgot. Some of it you actually forget, and you actually are able to move past, right?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy the stuff that we actually will forget and that we actually will heal via just forgetting. And the forgetting is the letting go and not allowing the energy or the situation or the wound affect us anymore for us. So we're coming back to us, right? Because we feel good. And that's how it always been. People, we go around, we want to make money, we want to eat good food, we want to have good lovers, you know what I mean? We want to feel good all the time. And that's okay to feel good. People are like, oh, this is a contrast 3D world. You're going to have times to feel good. Yeah, sure. But there's going to be a point in your life where you're going to feel good, even if things feel a little like, oh, I'm not sure about today, because you trust and you feel good, right? And then if you don't feel good, then you take some time to meditate and you're going to journal it out and you're going to do that work. But it's going to get faster and faster and easier for you to heal and release from that. Now, then we get into, because our physical body holds a lot of traumas too, right? It holds a lot of emotion. It even holds that physical trauma. So if someone's physically done something to you, it will hold that trauma. It will hold it in your chakras. It will hold it in your organs or whatever. So then my next level is I had to get into the physical. I had to start doing physical work, energetic work, or even taking special herbs that help my liver, you know, cleanse and, you know, and help me in that way, right? I switched from, I was a vegetarian. I got really sick. I just can't, so much energy is constantly going through me when I do these mediumship. I'm like a portal, right? I couldn't do it, but I do aware. When I eat, I give thanks, I say a prayer, and I only eat animals, or I try and only eat animals that are antibiotic free, that are having a good life or whatever, but I really connect with the animal and the spirit, right? And trust me, I fought with my guides forever. I'm like, I'm not eating meat, because I would get sick as a child, right? And I didn't realize that all I needed to do was give thanks and blessings and connect and really show appreciation, right? I don't eat pork. That's just something the vibration, I don't know what it is. I don't get into it with the religious. It's just personal. I just don't eat pork, right?
Right.
So that all helped. Doing that physical and being aware of the foods that I put in. I don't eat a lot of processed foods. If I'm going to eat processed foods, it's going to be hummus that I bought from the grocery store. You know, I'm very boring. I eat 2 eggs, you know, a homemade bread, hash browns, avocado, and a tomato every morning, you know, sort of thing. Like, I'm very boring. And then,
that was a bit more than what I eat. I have a smoothie like every morning, you know. So you're, I think that's a bit more boring, you know.
Yeah, I have to have like protein and because ever since I was a child, I've had sugar stuff too, and it has all to do with my gifts, my serotonin levels in my brain chemistry. I have to watch all that, especially if I'm doing a lot of readings. It's like our little vessels. People are like, oh, you should be able to do that, and you should be able. I'm in the spirit body, and I'm doing this. My spirit is going doing whatever it does, and my 3D body, my physical body, is like, it's meat. It's a meat thing. And it's very love. I love it. I love this suit. I do. But it can only go so far if I don't exercise, or if I don't drink water, or if I don't eat right? So a lot of people, they're like, oh, I can't forgive this person or that person. But if your energy, even your physical energy, is off, you can't move from head to heart because you're almost in fight or flight.
Right.
So if you're physical, if you're not looking after your physical, you're not looking after your mental, and you're constantly in fight or flight. So you're going to constantly pull those energies, like we said before, right? And not be able to forgive and stay in that stubborn mind because you feel uncomfortable and you feel sick. And if you just take care of the general, then you're going to open up. And people are like, it's not that simple. It is. If you do baby steps, right?
Yeah.
Don't just be like, eating meat 10 times a day and then go vegetarian. Your body is going to go through withdrawal big time. But thank you for that effort. Thank you for that effort. But be nice to yourself. No spiritual being is out there going, you suck at eating meat. No, nobody is doing that. Nobody's judging anyone in any way. Only the humans, right?
Right.
Only us. So yeah, so you have to go. So when you go into forgiveness and you go into that sort of thing, like I said, especially when it comes to the major traumas, you need to get yourself out of fight or fight, right? Which we often are running around. That's why we have our shoulders. We're all like, because we're always in that state, especially now with the world going how it is.
Yeah.
If you weren't in it, you're going to be in it now, right? So just taking that time and really taking the slow steps that we need. People are rush.
Yeah.
So if we take care of that, then we can start moving apart. Then we can start working on that forgiveness thing. But we're not going to get anywhere until we take care of our spaces and our physical.
I love that.
I said, and you just be stubborn. So if you're finding that if you're still not forgiving them, then meditate on it. Why can't I forgive them? Or I forgave them, but I can't stop hurting about this. I thought I forgave them, but I can't stop hurting about it. Well, why do you hurt? Oh, because I wanted them to hear me. Okay. Pretend they're hearing you now. Sometimes we've got to do it, right? Pretend they're hearing you now. Write it up. I did this the other day, actually. I pretended I was talking to the person, and I wrote out what I wanted to say to them, and then I thought of what they would answer, and some of the answers weren't very nice, but I needed to just hear it. Right?
Yeah.
I needed to hear it, and then I could work more in my mind because I was missing that conversation that I needed to have with them that I will never have.
Right. Like to get some kind of closure.
Some kind of closure, yeah. It's very important. And it's also very, like, if you're going to get into our psyche and our mental and that, it's also very important with our energetic and our spirit for us to, heal and disconnect from those energies. So, and to be heard. Yeah. So we're hearing ourselves instead, right? So we're writing it out. We're taking over. We're taking over what we feel that we can't receive from them, and we're giving it to ourselves.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised what you write out. Really, you'll be surprised because you know the person who's harmed. Everybody knows them. You know them intimately. That's why you can't get over it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great. And like you said, I think there are so many people out there that really need to start taking care of themselves. And one thing that 2020 kind of brought up, I think, is to be more aware of yourself, to be more finding yourself back. That's how I kind of feel myself, okay, but who am I really and what is life about?
Sorry.
Nice little music in the background. That's always good.
Expert interviewer. Yeah, it is really important. And we're always like, I mean, I see it too. Like I see spiritual people fasting is great. It's good. It's great, sure. But make sure you are able to fast, or make sure you are at least supporting your physical before you go into fast. Like you don't want to go into a fast when your body is going, I need all this nutrition and you're not feeding it to me, or you're
right. Oh, let's see. Kind of froze there. Yeah. There. Another. Yeah, I see that. we just continue here. That's okay. Too much energy going on here. I don't know. Oh, really? uh, uh,
all the time. I mean, it does and it doesn't. Like, it used to happen to me all the time, and I'd be like, what the heck's going on?
no, wait. Yeah. I don't know. We can. But is it the computer just died totally, or? Yeah. Yeah, we can finish up here instead.